Hi, I'm Lola-Isabella, and this is my speech, my persuasive speech on a gap year. Some students in their senior year of high school have a set college and major planned out, but they all know where they want to be and what they want to do, yet some students don't have any idea or don't feel like school is the right fit for them. More students who are about to be in college should know that a gap year is a solid option for them. The option of a gap year for students about to enter their college careers could be beneficial to some of them. I have been interested in the gap year plan since I was in high school, and I have research information about the process of gap years. First, in my speech, I will discuss the skepticism many have on gap years. Secondly, I will discuss the options many have taken or can take on how to spend their gap year. Finally, I will discuss a few statistics from those who chose to do gap year and why it's beneficial. To begin, a less common plan for after the completion of high school is taking a gap year. A big misconception on gap years is that it's a waste of time. A lot of adults don't recommend a gap year to their kids or students because they don't think it holds structure for them. Many see a gap year as an unstructured, unproductive way to spend their time. But students don't have to just go abroad for it to be a gap year, and many people don't realize that there are plans locally that students can follow to stay busy. There aren't always, I'm sure there are ways you can have a gap year that are unstructured, but there are a lot of ways to make it structured. As well, it is thought that a gap year lessens an individual's motivation for when they return to schooling. But in reality, it might actually help the student decide what they want to do in life. There's a possibility it could happen in the individual. When they come out of the gap year to be in a state with no motivation. But usually it helps the student find what they want to focus on, so when they return to new classes, they're eager to get started. Because some students honestly will take a gap year and then decide they don't want to go back to school at all, which I guess might be the right path for them, but for others it might not be. But usually students come back feeling eager to start because they found it's something they're passionate about. Now that I've discussed some skepticism on gap years, I will discuss many options students have participated in or can participate in for that year. So there are countless ways to spend a gap year. Some people choose to travel, which is the main one you hear about in a way to spend your gap year. With travel, either abroad or local, individuals experience other cultures and ways of living. There are plenty of programs that allow students to live in other areas and get a feel for travel and immerse themselves in a different culture. And this allows them to get out of their comfort zones. These plans, they're usually programs, and they're kind of costly, I would say, but you can find cheaper ones. And it's that's one of the more fun ways to spend your gap year. A less costly option would be for students to work or intern for the year. Choosing to pursue a job would allow for the student to begin to save up for college, as that can be a costly endeavor in itself. And an internship allows for them to gain experience firsthand before they decide what to go to school for. So either way, if you decide to take a year off from school and straight work, you gain experience for your resume, and you can save up your money for school so you can go to a better one. And then internships, you gain first-hand experience, and then you have all that time to maybe pursue different internships and find what you're passionate about. And then as well as internships and jobs, many students feel drained after high school and take the gap year so they can focus on themselves. Mental health should be a top priority, and if a student feels they need a break from schooling, they shouldn't feel bad choosing a gap year as their option. They should take this time to pursue hobbies and find topics and activities they are interested in. A lot of students do feel drained after high school, and if high school wasn't fun for them, it's exceptional after that they don't feel their best, so maybe taking a gap year will lift their moods. Now that we know about a few options on how to spend your gap year, I will discuss why it's beneficial for some students to take it in the first place. A gap year is proven to be beneficial to many who choose to participate. In a study on 2,800 high school students, they found that if they had low academic performance when they were high school, they were more likely to take a gap year. After this gap year, they reported higher motivation in schooling. This was compared to those who didn't take the gap year, but only 7% out of the 2,800 took the gap year off. So those statistics might not be that well, but it proves that they came back and they were more motivated. And the National Research Center for College and University Admissions conducted a survey on majors. And they found that 50% of individuals in college will switch to the major at least once. And to fix this problem, a gap year can be taken to find a subject that students are passionate enough to pursue. So during that gap year, you join like groups in your community, you go research a bunch of stuff, find out what you're interested in. Because a lot of people go into school and they choose a major, take a few classes, decide they don't like it, switch a major, and all those classes they took sometimes don't count as electives, so it was a waste of money. So you'd be saving money taking a gap year. So, in conclusion, today I first discussed the skepticism on students taking gap year. Secondly, I discussed a few options for the year off. And lastly, I discussed how a gap year can be beneficial. A gap year should not be seen as an option for lazy students, but rather a new opportunity for those to experience life. In conclusion, the gap year should be an option deemed just as valid as continuing schooling right out of high school. It should not be looked down upon, and the gap year should be encouraged more often. My references for this speech were Possibilities of the Gap Year, A Chronicle of Higher Education by H. Bull, Choosing a Gap Year Can Pay Dividends for High School Grads by T. Engel, and then Scholars Suggest Adding Gap Year May Encourage College Completion by K. Dorgo and S.D. Sparks. And my visual aid was my high school gown for graduation, because you would usually take your gap year after you graduate high school.